So on the stock itself, look, I think you're going to see continued headwinds here, particularly from a headline perspective and risks around the news flow for the next several months. But frankly, when we look out for the next several years at Facebook, when we think about the number of users, and it appears that usage hasn't really changed. And as long as usage can maintain what it's been doing, knowing, of course, it did come down here in fourth quarter, but purposefully, as long as usage can continue, and we do think Facebook's utility and the 6 million advertisers can remain on the site, we think they can actually manage through this. Now, you're exactly right. The risk is certainly increased here in the short to maybe medium term.
So why keep the price target at 235? I mean, why is everything the same right now? These are, what, 12-month targets that you guys put out on the street in general. And I understand your notion that in several years it will do X, Y, and Z.
Sure.
That's several years, though. And right now, the next 12 months is the time that we are worried about in terms of regulatory changes and changes potentially to the business model.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And I mean, just yesterday I was looking at our model and we're saying, what if Facebook invests an additional $2 billion in their R&D and security and everything else as a result? And frankly, our forward year multiple on 2019 went up by a turn. So instead of trading at 18 times, trading at 19 times. And we actually think this is on GAAP earnings. And so we actually think that's not that big of a risk, or we're getting close to the point where there's a lot of valuation support. And we actually think the company's doing a very good job at managing this. And we'll see what happens today, of course. But yeah.
Brian, you got a sell rating. You've had a sell rating on this stock for a while, though, prior to even the Cambridge Analytica news came out, and you had already been projecting margin compressions and increased costs. So how much more on those fronts are you expecting from Facebook this year in light of what is happening?
Yeah, those are real factors. I think that, the underlying premise to my negative view on the stock going back to July, which is when I downgraded it to a sell, and everyone's looking at this very optimistically at the time, is that the industry only has so much money. There's only so much share then for Facebook to take. It's just understanding the industry. There's only a limit. And so that means that necessarily faster growth in the near term means less growth to be had in the long term. So that's the first thing. Then yes, you do have margin compression, and then I think what happens with the current environment is that costs will go up slightly higher. I'm not actually projecting a meaningful negative impact on the current revenue or cost base. I think that this will contribute to the trends that I've been concerned about, certainly. I would point out, though, that I disagree strongly about Facebook and how well they're managing the situation currently and how well the company is managed. The new risk that I did not fully appreciate until the data privacy issue was brought back to our attention was that the company is not well managed. I do not believe that one of Zuckerberg or Sandberg will not be in the same jobs in 12 months' time. There is a systemic series of problems.
You believe that Mark Zuckerberg or Sheryl Sandberg won't be in the same jobs they are in 12 months from now?
Correct. There are systemic problems with Facebook. When you look at how they adhered to whether it was political advertising laws, to the Fair Housing Act, when you look at how they manage their advertising data and the advertising products that they've been selling to advertisers, when you look at their inability to take down inappropriate content, this is systemic. This is a real issue, and I don't think investors fully appreciate that risk.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.